Today we're going to learn about geometry, and geometry is the study of shapes. We will learn how to identify and draw points, lines, line segments, rays, angles, vertices, intersecting lines, and parallel lines. Let's go to the first word to know, and that is a point. A point is an exact location. I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to highlight the important words in that definition, and that is exact location. So here I have a straight edge, and I'm going to represent a point on this line. So this red dot is considered the point on this line. Points are normally marked with a letter. So this point on the line, it would be marked with perhaps an A. If I'm making another point further down the line, I'm going to use a different letter for this one. So let's say this point could be labeled point B. Again, a point is an exact location on a line. Let's go to our next word to know. A line is formed by a series of points and is endless in both directions. I'm going to get my highlighter and I'm going to highlight endless in both directions. Now let me grab a marker and I'm going to draw a representation of a line. In order to show that it's endless in both directions, I'm going to use an arrow on this end and an arrow on this end. So this represents a line which would go on forever in both directions. Let's go to the next word to know, and that is a line segment. And a line segment is sometimes confused with a line. A line segment is a part of a line. It has two end points. I get my highlighter and I'm going to highlight two endpoints that will help me to remember to draw the stoppers, the end points on both ends of this line. So here's an end point, and this one is the end point for this side. So a line segment is a part of a line. It's going to include two endpoints. Our next word to know is a ray. An array has one end point on one end, and then it's endless in the other direction. So I've got my important words highlighted here, and now I'm going to represent that. Let me get a marker. So I want to make sure I include an end point on one end. And then on this end, I'm going to use an arrow to represent that it's endless in this direction. A ray might be seen this way, or it may be seen another way too. We could use the arrow on this end and the end point on this end. So this is the ray. Our next word to know is an angle. So an angle is formed by two of those rays. They're going to join together at a point. That point where they join is called the vertex. So there's actually two words to know on this page. Let's go ahead and get our highlighter. An angle is formed by two rays that join at a point. And that point is called the vertex. So I already have a line here. I'm going to remove this line, and I'm going to use my pen tool to draw an angle. So if I'm going to draw a ray, I'm going to remember that a ray is a line that has an arrow on one end to show it's endless on that end, and it's going to have an end point on this end. My definition says that a ray is formed, an angle is formed by two rays. So let me go ahead and draw another ray. I'm joining them together at an end point. So the angle is formed here. I'm going to grab another color so I can mark that angle. Angles are usually marked with a line. This is the angle. So we had a ray meet up, join another ray, and it formed this angle. You might have heard this angle called a corner before. So it forms a corner or an angle. The point that it joins, this point here, is called the vertex. That is the vertex. So I'm going to write vertex here. Vertex, angle. Let's go to our next word to know. A right angle is a special angle. It's an angle that includes a square corner. Let me grab my pen tool again. I'm going to again show a ray, arrow on one end point on the other end. And I'm going to join that with another ray. There's my endpoint. Here's my arrow. Now these two rays join together to form a right angle. Let me get my highlighter. If it's a right angle, then we're going to see a square corner. That means that the angle is formed by two rays. One is going straight down, the other one is going straight across. And if it's formed that way, I can see a square inside that angle. I can fit a square inside. It's a square angle. Not all angles are right angles or square angles. I'm going to draw one that's not so you can see the difference. Okay, so here is a ray, and it's joining with another ray. And here is the angle. Let's get another marker. This is the angle right there. This is not a square angle, though. This is not a right angle. This angle is not opened up to the degree that this one is. I can't form a square inside of that angle. So a right angle is an angle that includes that square corner. All right, now we're going to take a look at two different kinds of lines. We've got our intersecting lines. Intersecting lines are lines that cross. So I'm going to draw a line. It could be a straight line, it could be a diagonal line. This line is going vertically, that means it's going up and down. Now I'm going to draw another line, and this line is going to cross this one. So these lines crossed. They crossed at this point here. Because they cross, they are considered intersecting lines. Let's get our highlighter. We have to remember that intersecting lines cross at a point. Our final word to know is parallel lines. This definition says that parallel lines are lines that run side by side and never cross. So they're going to be different from the intersecting lines. Let's draw a representation of this. Okay, so I have a line running horizontally. And I'm going to draw another line running also side by side with that one, horizontally. These arrows represent that these lines go on forever in these two directions. But if they go on forever in these directions, I can see that they would continue on, but they would never cross. So parallel lines never cross. Let me get my highlighter, never cross. Side by side. Sometimes we can remember that parallel lines are running side by side, never crossing, because we can even see parallel lines in the word parallel.